All of the media and most of the big organisations in New Zealand are either connected to something called the Pride Pledge or the Rainbow Tick. So we're going to have a look at both of these to try and understand why the media is not representative of the population base. So the population base of New Zealand, the majority of them are heterosexual. And even if they're not pro this pride push anymore because they know it's been politically hijacked. And then you have a tiny minority of people that would identify as trans and want to be part of this activism. Because there's some people that would identify as trans that don't want to be part of this activism. So what I'm saying is the funnel gets very, very small for the actual people that are really backing this stuff. And the money that goes into this is completely disproportionate, considering as well that they cry that they're marginalised. They appear to be the identity group in New Zealand that gets more funding and more policies written about them than anybody else.
I knew coming to Parliament that I would face prejudice and homophobia. I knew that people would not like the way I dress or speak or the causes that I advocate for. But I could never imagine or prepare myself to be attacked in such a baseless, personal and violent way.
It appears when you compare the one-sided way that they always report out on the poor marginalised community of trans, which then leads to going, oh, these poor people and now they need more money because they've got people on wait lists and they need more money for their IPL, their laser hair surgery so that the men can look more feminine and all of that stuff. It's lobbying, but they're leveraging media to do it, which is why the only way that you'll find balanced media on this or media that's allowed to question it is not mainstream media. So we've got TVNZ. I mean, this is a massive list, but let's just look at media. So then you've got Sky, so they're part of it.
Yeah.
There you go, Radio New Zealand.
Right, and we just saw a report from Radio New Zealand, so
Right.
that's interesting. So again, now we get into the issue of what they feel comfortable about reporting and not reporting.
That's correct.
Do they need to maintain their Pride Pledge for any particular reason? Does it help them in their business to maintain a Pride Pledge in order to get money themselves?
It's a very good question because from the research that myself and others have done, it seems to be connected to the United Nations ESGs. To me, it all comes down from the United Nations. So this is where I say, is New Zealand really in charge? Are the people in New Zealand really doing what's best for the people, or is this something that's coming from higher up?
But does this mean if they lose their Pride Pledge status, then they lose some kind of grant money or special treatment that they benefit from?
Potentially, or an ESG score. And I know that that is what has been evidenced overseas.
But now we're talking about if you don't play ball and if you don't report in a certain way or you don't do a certain thing, you lose money.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So that's why I always do #FollowTheMoney.
Yeah.
And I pull it back from what they try and make it, which is they make it really emotive. They being the trans lobby community industry, they make it really emotive and they say that if you criticise us, basically you're the enemy. This used to be called the Rainbow Tick and it's now Toiti Takutapui, and this is owned by Ngāti Whātua. And then if you go over to the members here, you'll see again, you've got NZME right at the top. Okay, They are so NZME and Media Works own most of the media in New Zealand, which owns the Herald. You can see a lot of the same companies are there, but also some different ones. So people need to go and have a look at all of that to get an understanding of the money, and what they can also do is see how much each company has to give each year.
Sorry, I missed something. So this is more than just a voluntary kind of we pledge our support. You're actually giving money if you're one of these companies. You've got to pay to be on the list.
So it talks about what is certification. Basically, one of the things is that these organisations would donate money into the Pride organisations and charities and things like that, which is why there's so many of them, because they've got to go and put their money somewhere. So they have to agree to a Pride pledge. They have to do a stock take. So that's an industry there which is created to go in and do basically a review or an audit of their company to see if they're Pride friendly, a friendly workplace.
Sure.
If they've got friendly HR policies for the Pride people and things. They need to have a commitment, a public commitment. So they have to go out there publicly and say, we're supporting Pride. Remember, this is for a teeny tiny minority of the population who aren't as marginalised as they tell us. But they say that they're marginalised so that they get all this attention and money. They are active in the Rainbow Network. They have to undergo training. So they put their staff through training, which I call rainbow washing. And I've talked to people who don't want to do it, but they're told they have to if they work for this company. And then they have KPIs. So there's different amounts that they have to pay. So a large company would pay like $11,000 a year to have the certification, which then creates this industry.
Right.
So that's important, because then you can start to see why the mainstream media may not be speaking from the point of view of neutrality or the concerns of the wider public. And the Fourth Estate was meant to be the watchdog of the politicians, not their propaganda arm.